Hey guys, this is Cam Video Studio, and in this video I'm doing some more HTML formatting part 2, and this video is covering giving credit and quotes inside your HTML. Alright, first I'm going to talk about quotes, and I'm just going to start with the normal quote, which is the Q tag. Now this defines a short quotation. Browsers normally insert quotation marks around the quotation by themselves, so you don't actually have to add the quotation marks if you put it in this, and that helps a lot when you're coding so that you don't get confused if it's actually going into the document or if it's just describing an attribute. This really helps with that. You just put it inside a Q tag and it solves all those problems. So the default CSS for a quotation is fairly complicated, so I'm going to write it all out. First of all, you have the Q, the actual Q tag, and inside of that you're going to set the display property to inline. And then you're going to close that and open up the Q and then do the class selector before. To do that you do a double colon and then you write before. Then you open it and you set the content tag to open quote. This will put an open quote before the quotation. And then you close all that. You use the Q and then you do the after class selector, which will be a Q double colon after. And then you set the content to close quote, and that will put a close quote at the end of the quote. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about the block quote, which specifies the section that is quoted from another source. And browsers generally indent this in CSS by default. And to do this, they actually have to do quite a bit of CSS, so I'm going to write that all out like I did the last quote. CSS for block quote is also fairly complicated. It sets 5 different attributes inside of it. The first one, it sets the display to block, then it sets the margin top to 1 EM, the margin bottom to 1 EM, the margin left to 40 pixels, and the margin right to 40 pixels. Now this is what the normal browsers put. It's not always this case. But this generally just sets the block's quote apart from the rest of the text, like this. Alright, now I'm going to talk about the address tag. This tag defines the contact information for the author or owner of a document or an article. If the address tag is inside the body tag, then it represents the contact information for the whole document. If the address tag is inside an article tag, it represents the contact information for that article. So the CSS for this is fairly simple. It sets the display attribute to block and the font style attribute to italic. Alright, now I'm going to explain a way the address tag can be filled out. First of all, you're going to want to put written by, and then you're going to want to put the name. Now what I did here was put the name inside of a reference tag that sets up so that when you click the name it opens an email to go to the author. Then you have a break line, and then it has a visit us at, and then it breaks again. It puts the web page, then it breaks again, then it starts to write out the address, the actual physical land address. And those are some of the things you can put in there. You can put essentially anything else that describes the author in there if you want to. And like I said before, this displays it in block and sets the font style to italic. The last one on this is fairly simple. It's the cite tag. The cite tag defines a title of a work, such as a book, a song, a movie, a TV show, a painting, or a sculpture. A person's name doesn't make this cut, so that does not go inside of the cite tag. What you're actually citing is the work, not the author of the work. And the default CSS is the easiest out of all these. It sets the cite tag to have a font style of italic. If you want some specific information about anything I talked about in this video or any of my other videos, leave it in the comments and I will get back to you on that. And while you're here, go ahead and hit subscribe.